Good evening. How's everyone doing this evening? Welcome to this week's edition of Let's Talk. Let's Talk. We're going to be talking about tricks or not for kids. So, welcome to this week's edition of Let's Talk. And just a reminder, this month of May, we will have some exciting topics. Our first topic, hi cousin, hi Miss Laura Johnson, how are you doing? Thank you for joining Let's Talk. Thank you for joining me. But this week we will be talking about, tonight, tricks are not for kids. We will be discussing effective parenting. And our special guest will be Mrs. Frizelma Lynn. She's the Parenting 911 coach. Next week, Sunday, May the 12th, is Mother's Day, so we hope everyone will be enjoying their family. So we will not have a show on May 12th, but we will wish all the mothers out there and mother figures a very happy Mother's Day. And then on May 19th, we will be talking about Left Behind, the lost generation, and baby boomers navigating in this digital society. It's crazy. My brother was just talking about how he hates the automated system. So we're going to talk about the lost generation and the baby boomers, and even some of us Gen Xers, as we try to navigate this digital society. And then on Sunday, May 26th, we do have an update in our schedule. We will be talking about mental health awareness, as it is Mental Health Awareness Month. So we will be talking about mental health awareness, and that is something that is mental health, mental issues are plaguing our community, and a lot of our younger people as well as older people are struggling with mental health issues, and so we will be discussing that on May the 26th. So thank you guys for joining. This is Let's Talk, and tonight's edition is Tricks Are Not for Kids, Effective Parenting. Thank you all for joining. Come on in, and we're going to get started with our discussion. Very shortly at 7 o'clock p.m. we will start our discussion on effective parenting. So those who are on now already, if you know any parents, grandparents, aunts, uncles, godparents, anyone who plays any role in raising a child, any part whatsoever, invite them to come on in to the show, and invite them to come on into the show tonight, so we can get some tips to help us raise our kids more effectively. And good evening, Mrs. Frizelma Lynn. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. We are so excited about our discussion tonight, and just are looking forward to all the good information you have for us out there when it comes to rearing our kids and parenting. So thank you so much for accepting our invitation, and thank you for joining us. Mrs. Lynette Vincent Mays, thank you for joining. I see you guys made it back home safely to Cincinnati. So glad to see you tonight. Mr. Andrew Page, so glad to see you tonight. If you guys would go ahead and like and share the video, please. Like and share the video, and invite all of your friends, especially those who are parenting, grandparents, young and old, We are never too old to learn. So if they've been parenting for a while, even if they have grown children, go ahead and invite them to join us tonight for this very important discussion on effective parenting. Once again, I want to thank you all for joining me tonight on Let's Talk, and we will get started in about 2 minutes. And we will looking forward. We're looking forward to a in-depth and enlightening discussion tonight. So thank you. Am I? Oh, okay. So I am wondering about your ability to hear and see me. If you can hear and see me well, give me some thumbs up, some emojis, some likes. Or if you're having trouble seeing or hearing me, just let me know. Just let me know, and we'll try to fix that. So give me some thumbs up, give me some smiley faces, give me some emojis, wave at me, let me know you can hear me and you can see me very well. Thank you guys so much for joining. All right, we're going to go ahead and get started. Thank you, Andrew, for the thumbs up. I appreciate it. We're going to go ahead and get started tonight. Welcome to this week's edition of Let's Talk. I am your host, Juju, and we are coming to you live tonight from the house that Juju built, Juju's Dollhouse. Each week here on Let's Talk, we will discuss current events and their impact on the Black community. We will also highlight local Black-owned businesses, local entrepreneurs, local artisans, local nonprofits, and upcoming events which will give small businesses an opportunity to showcase their products. Let's Talk is created to be a positive, uplifting, and informative discussion. All constructive opinions are welcome, as we must learn to listen to and consider the opinions of others, even if we don't necessarily agree with them. This isn't a place to tear down anyone, but to uplift and to enlighten. Therefore, if your comments are not coming from a place of love and are not intended to uplift, we kindly ask that you find another forum to share them. Please note that my opinion, any opinion that I might give, is strictly that, my opinion. This is not intended to be a news show, but we will try our best to steer clear of gossip and things that are knowingly untrue. It is my sincere hope that everyone finds this a safe place where you feel comfortable sharing your opinions. About your host, I am simply a sinner saved by grace. Every good and perfect part of me comes from God. Therefore, I praise Him and give Him glory anytime I am given the opportunity. My motto is, I am walking by faith, inspiring hope, and showing love along the way. Let's Talk is produced by my dear friend, who has always had my back, my dear friend and brother, Mr. Jerry Jackson. All that being said, let's talk. Tonight's show focuses on effective parenting. Now, I know some of you looked at the topic and it read, tricks are not for kids. And you wonder, what in the world is Juju talking about? Well, this is the fulfillment of a long time dream, okay? When I worked in the county DHR office on my job, I often encountered parents who said and did things that negatively impacted their children. And most of the time, they did these things and said these things for self-serving reasons. Back then, I would often tell my coworkers, I am going to conduct a parenting seminar. And I said I am going to entitle it tricks are not for kids. So just to remind you, anything that I say is just my opinion. And with that being said, you can take it and do whatever you want to with that title. But anyway, in all seriousness, being a parent is one of the most important jobs a person can ever undertake. However, it is a job that most people receive very little training, if any, on how to do effectively. So tonight, I'm going to introduce you to someone who can offer us some much needed training. And before we get started, I want everyone to take the time right now to consider all the parents, grandparents, aunts, uncles, godparents, anyone involved in raising children that you may know, whether they're young or old, and invite them right now, invite them to join us in tonight's discussion. And let them know that Mrs. Frizelma Lynn, the Parenting 911 coach, is on the line, and she's on live with us, and she's going to give us some guidance and answer some of our questions and to help to make us more effective parents. Okay, and wait for all the older parents who feel like my children are grown, this doesn't apply to me. You stay on too, because she just may have something for you, some tips to help you as well. Okay, my producer, Mr. Jackson, isn't able to be with us tonight, so y'all please bear with me. I'm navigating this ship alone. So, but as usual, I want you all to feel free to make your comments, to ask your questions, and I will try my best to ask all your questions and read all your comments. If I happen to omit your comment, please blame it on my head or my eyesight and not my heart, because that is not what is intended. And all of that being said, I'm going to invite in our special guest, Mrs. Frizelma Lynn, Parenting 911 coach. Hello, Tiffany Williams. Hello, Miss Darlene Todd. Thank you guys for joining. Okay, Mrs. Lynn, can you do me a favor, because you're not showing up on my list? I don't know why. Here we go again. But would you request to join? Can you do a request from your end to join the live so that I can get you in? If you do a request, then I can add you in. All right, Mrs. Lynn, do you hear me? Miss Frizelma, do you hear me? Can you request to join the live so we can get you in? so we can add you into the conversation. If you're out there, can you request to join the live, because you're not showing up on my list of people who are watching the live. If you don't mind, can you request to join? All right, guys, can you guys hear me? If you all can hear me, give me some thumbs up. Show me some emojis. Give me some emojis. Maybe that'll update my my thing. It's not okay. It's not letting you. Give me, if y'all don't mind, give me some emojis. Give me some emojis. Give me some emojis. Some hands, some smiley faces, some hearts, some something, so I can get my algorithm going. If you don't mind, I'm trying to get Miss Lynn and Mrs. Lynn. If you don't mind, if you would exit out of the live and try coming back in, and maybe it will register that you're in the midst. If you do that, I don't know why this thing wants to act crazy lately, because it's only showing me Tiffany and Lynette, and I have more. Thank you. I see y'all are here, everybody. Tiffany, Lynette. I'm trying to get Miss Frizelma in. Come on now. Satan, no. We're going to get this parenting information. We're going to get this parenting advice tonight. The devil is a lie. You're not going to stop us from getting Miss Frizelma in here tonight. Come on. Hey, Miss Gladys Johnson. Thank you for joining me. How are you doing tonight? Thank you for joining me. I'm trying to get Miss Frizelma up and in here. Now it's telling me Gladys is watching, and Tiffany and Lynn and Andrew and everybody except Miss Frizelma. Come on now, Facebook. Don't be playing with me tonight. Satan, you got to get out the way. You're not going to stop this broadcast. The blood of Jesus is against you. All righty. All right. Well, thank you, Miss Gladys, for joining us. And Tim, I know that's right. We have some kids to raise. I know that's right. And we got to raise them up right in the way that they should go. We trying to get them to be some good citizens and get them to be some good soldiers. And we need this good parenting advice. So, Miss Gloria Woods. Hi, Miss Gloria Woods. Thank you for joining me tonight. Thank you for joining me. We're waiting, trying to get our 911 parenting coach in on the live broadcast, Miss Frizelma Lynn. So hopefully she can get in, and we can go ahead and get started with the question and answers. How many parents do we have on the line? Parents and grandparents. How many parents? Hey, Miss Sharonda. Thank you for joining me. And for their mom to stop yelling and cussing. Oh, come on in the room. Yes, Parenting 911, we need you. Come on in the room. We got a mother who needs to stop yelling and cursing, and she needs to know how she can do it in a more effective way, how she can parent in a more effective way. She got two beautiful little babies, two beautiful twins, and she wants to know how to do it in a more effective way. So how many parents do we have out there? Or people? I know we have some educators. I know Andrew is an educator out there, and Tiffany is a parent, and Miss Gloria Woods is a parent. Miss Sharonda Anthony is a parent. Miss Gladys Johnson is a parent. So we got some parents, and we got some. I see Miss Gladys. I see Tiffany. I see Sharonda. Oh. Okay. Miss Lynn, did you make it back? Miss Frizelma Lynn, did you make it back in? Did you make it back into the broadcast so that we can go ahead and try to get this discussion started? I don't know if she went out and tried to come back in or not. You still trying? Okay. And you went out and you tried to come back in? I mean, you went out and came back in, and it's still not. This is crazy. Okay. Just crazy. Why is it showing everybody else on here except Miss Lynn? Okay. But anyway, we're gonna do what we can, however we can. We're not gonna let the enemy stop us. I don't know why it's showing me everybody else on here except you. That's strictly the devil not trying to. You see Miss Lynn online, yeah, yes, and I see her, and she says she's trying to get in, but it's not allowing me to add her to the conversation. Oh my goodness, this is crazy. Okay. Okay, guys. Well, we're gonna go ahead and we're just gonna start, and I'm just gonna have to ask her, and I hate for you to have to do it that way, Miss Lynn, but Mrs. Lynn, but we're just gonna do it this way, and maybe as we go on, we will find favor with God, and we can get you on, because I really need. I enjoyed so much yesterday talking to you, and I'm talking to you and listening to the parenting information. I went to the parenting seminar yesterday that you have, and I think it's on a monthly basis, and I enjoyed it so well, and it's something that all parents need to, if you're in the area, make sure that you put it on your calendar to attend these parenting seminars. But anyway, please tell us about the Parenting911. I am Mrs. Lynn, are you on your phone or are you on a PC? Does that make a difference, Tiffany? She's on her PC. Trying to figure out. Can you try to log in on your phone, Miss Lynn, Mrs. Lynn? Try to log in on your phone, and let's see if it'll let you in. Try logging off on your PC and log in on your phone, and let's see if we can get you in that way. Because I really need for you to be able to talk, and for the audience to be able to hear you. Guys, I'm so sorry. This is the second week in a row that we have had these kind of issues, and I thought I had kind of figured out what was going on last week, but it looks like this week we are still doing the same thing. There you go. It says it's adding you.
That's why I need this show next week about navigating in this digital society. Oh, I'm so glad to see your face. Thank you. Thank you for holding on and bearing with us. It is just
Yes,
so
ma'am.
good to see you.
I don't
Um,
give up easily, so I kept trying.
I thank you for that. And go ahead, Mrs. Lynn, and tell us a little bit about yourself and tell us about the Parenting 911.
All right, as I try to readjust everything here to my phone, hello, everyone. I am so happy to be a part of this. Juju, you know you are amazing, ma'am. You know I think you are
Thank you. Thank
amazing. So,
you.
Parenting 911 honestly is my new assignment after retirement. It is to rescue families. And to rescue childhoods because parents, our children have one childhood, and it's up to us to make sure that they are nurtured, that they have structure in their lives at home, that there is love and safety and discipline. I know many of us don't like that word, but our children need that too. So Parenting 911 works with parents to provide strategies for all of those things I've just mentioned.
Okay. Okay. What does, and we just gonna jump right on over into it. What does effective parenting, what is it, and does it look the same for every child?
It can never look the same for every child. However, like any outline, there is a specific outline for us as parents, all right? Effective parents means that you are actually doing what's needed to help your child be empowered, to help them have self-confidence, know how to do things, know where the boundaries are. Like any of us as adults, we don't really like to be put in situations where we don't know the boundaries, have no idea what's going on, don't, we want to know. Well,
Mm-hmm.
children want to know too.
No,
And it's
too.
up to us as parents to make sure they know. They need to know how to handle themselves. They need to know how to be alert. They need to know what boundaries are. They need to know that they're loved. They need to know how to communicate. They need to understand structure and rules, routines before they ever get to school. That's what we should be doing at home.
Okay. All right. And then I was looking in your book, and this is uh Mrs. Lynn's latest book is You Need a Butt Whooping, and that's probably showing up backwards. But anyway, that's what it says. You were saying in there, in order to discipline a child, a parent must first be disciplined. So what exactly is that mean?
So we have to understand what discipline really means. Most people think that discipline and punishment mean the same thing, but they do not. They are two different things. So when we understand what discipline actually means. And so I break it down into 3 steps. Discipline means to tell a child what to do, to give instructions. But then the second step is to model for them what you are telling them to do. Once you model it and show them exactly how you want it done, then you practice with them until it becomes habit. And that also teaches them how to independently do things for themselves. Most of us as adults today, because discipline is a process, so it takes time, we would rather for things to just happen, automatically. But discipline is you showing the child exactly what you're asking them to do and then allowing them to practice.
Okay. And so it takes some consistency. So you can't do it today and not do it tomorrow, right?
So, my thing is if it's not consistent, it's non-existent. So
Okay.
if you are not consistent about it, then why are you punishing your child? I mean,
Okay.
many of us do that. We
Okay.
won't be consistent, but then we want
Them
them to be
to do.
consistent. We won't discipline ourselves, but we want them to discipline themselves.
Okay.
Unfair. That's
And it doesn't
unfair.
work that way.
That's
Okay.
not.
Okay. All righty then. So give us some do's and some don'ts of parenting.
All right, so some do's. Let's start there. One do is to always study your children. Pay attention to your own children because the children are studying us. They
Okay.
always study us. They know more about us sometimes than we know
Okay.
about ourselves, because they are watching every move. They're listening to every word. They know how we laugh. They know how we cry. They know, the looks on our face, what it means. So we need to study our children. One reason for doing that, and it's really one of those main reasons, is because each person has a purpose, correct?
Right.
So you study your children, you start seeing their purpose. You start watching how they play, what they play with, how they talk, all of those things. You start seeing their purpose in life. So that's a do. Always study your children. All
Okay.
right. Another do is please listen. Please listen to them. Don't just, wave them away. You don't have time. You're on your phone right now, so you don't have time for them. Or you're with your friends and you don't have time for them. Learn how to listen to them. It truly be life-saving.
Yeah.
So we as parents and grandparents have to learn to listen to them. And third, I would say, learn how to communicate, because oftentimes I see parents just barking at children. And when I say bark, I mean, stop it, sit down, shut up, go. That's not that's not communication. Talk to them. And then parents, please learn to let them talk to you.
Okay.
Learn to let them talk back to you. Now, yeah, you need to set some boundaries, because you don't need for your child to use some of the language they've heard you use, or or heard someone else use. And if it's a boundary for them, it needs to be a boundary for you.
Okay. Okay.
But let's
Okay.
communicate with them. All right. So those are 3 really good do's.
Okay.
One, and I added a don't, because I said don't bark. I added a don't in there. So along with don't bark, don't say one thing and do another.
Okay.
All right. So don't say one thing and do another. Don't make promises that you won't keep. And some of us know we won't keep them when we make them. We're just
Okay.
trying in the moment, to hurry up and get that conversation over. But don't say things that you don't mean.
Okay.
All right. Don't parent when you're upset.
Okay.
Parent when you're calm down.
Mhm.
Parenting is not an emotion, and so many times parents use that, right in the emotional moment. No, no, calm down
Okay.
so you can think straight and you can talk with your child about whatever happened. Another don't is don't scream, yell, cuss, and fuss at the children. I heard you mention that earlier.
Somebody just posted that, so you heard that, didn't you, ma'am? Don't yell,
Don't
cuss, and
scream
fuss.
and yell and cuss and fuss at the children. So now listen, think about it. None of us want another person to scream and yell at us. All right?
Mhm.
We
Mhm.
immediately switch to something else. We're not
Mhm.
listening to them. We're not going to cooperate with them because the energy right then turned negative.
Right.
Well, if that's the
Right.
case with us, it's the case with our children.
Children.
All right.
Okay.
When
Okay.
we're
Okay.
fussing at our children, what if we're fussing back and forth, if we're in this argument, this give and take argument, we're actually giving them control. Come on now. If you're the parent, you
Okay.
already have the control.
Okay.
So why do you need to argue your point? If your point is right and good and you stand on it, why are you arguing about it?
Okay.
All
Okay.
right. And
Okay.
the cursing part, I was one of those children that when my mama cursed, it broke my heart.
Mhm.
It really broke my heart. That was worse to me than anything else she could do. So don't curse at your children. Honestly, that can break their spirit. It goes in one ear sometimes and goes out the other. Then we're modeling for them when we're cursing
Mhm.
at them,
Mhm.
and we don't
Yeah.
want that to come back.
Okay. Okay. So we're telling them that's how to handle stressful situations.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay. All righty. What are some common mistakes, and probably some of that you said, but what are some common mistakes that parents make in raising their children?
Sometimes we are trying to raise our children like someone else is raising theirs.
Mm,
You have to do what's really best for your children at home in your
mhm,
house.
mhm,
Um, so when I say what's best, understand there are three really main pillars for everybody.
mhm,
This is the outline I was talking about. You must have structure. Children need structure. We need structure. So when I say structure, I'm talking about rules and
mhm.
routines. We need to have that in our homes. So oftentimes we don't.
No.
All right. Then we need to make sure we understand discipline. We've talked about that. And so many times parents don't, or they're afraid to discipline. But if you model for them, the children will get it much more than you just assuming they know what to do and
Okay.
saying things like, you know better. Well, the
Mhm.
question the question in the book is, do they?
Do they? Mhm.
Because most times we haven't taught them better. And then
Mhm.
that last part of the outline is the communication. And
Mhm.
as children develop, our communication with them has to also develop.
Mhm.
And as parents, we don't want to change the way we talk to them.
Mhm.
So we want to still talk to them like they're 5 years old,
Mhm.
even though they're 15.
Okay. 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 And something you just said reminded me of my sister and my sister-in-law. My sister-in-law would tell my nephew, "Don't go in this store acting a fool. Every time we go to the store, you go ahead acting a fool." And my sister one day asked her, "What do you mean when you say acting a fool? You need to explain to him
Oh,
that behavior that you are talking about." Because he
absolutely.
doesn't understand what you're talking about, acting a fool, because it is not acting a fool to
That's
him.
right.
Mhm,
Absolutely. And that goes back to the discipline part because
mhm,
she's got to model for him and say, okay, when we go in the store, you need to act like I act.
mhm.
You know what I'm
Okay,
saying? So
okay,
follow
okay.
me. Do the things you see me. And I've asked children that many times, as a retired teacher and school administrator, I've asked students, do you see me acting like that in school?
Okay. Okay.
And they'll say, no, ma'am. I say, okay, tell me, what do you think I would have done? And some of them will say, oh, well, Miss Lynn, you know, you would have just walked away, or you would have just done. And I'm saying, exactly.
Exactly.
So we have to understand, as you said, explain what we mean and show them, make sure they're clear about what we are saying to them.
Okay. Okay. And so tell me, what does effective discipline, and you said first there's a difference between discipline and punishment. So tell me what the difference is between discipline and punishment. And should we punish our children? That's another question.
All right. So the difference between the discipline and punishment, I've talked about discipline. Well, the punishment is a negative consequence. So let me say this. We have to make sure that we understand, as well as our children understand, that consequences come with every choice we make. Every
Okay. Okay.
good or bad, consequences come. All
Right.
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 Now, the positive consequences come when we do something that's positive. That's acceptable, you know. The negative ones, that's what we call punishment. Now, in the book, I don't remember what page, maybe around 35, I have something that's called the consequence chart. I use that with my parents when I'm coaching. So the consequence chart is to keep us from being impulsive when we are coming up with consequences. Because sometimes we think that a butt spanking is all there is all they can do, that there are no other alternatives. Well, that's not so. There are so many alternatives. All right. So in the consequence chart, you and your children, if they are old enough, sit down and decide what are some of the positive consequences they would like to get when they do the things that you've asked them to do without any problem, without, you know, being coerced, without trying to bribe them, all the things we do sometimes. But they just get up and do what they know you've asked them to do. And I'm not talking about monetary things. I'm not talking about go out and buy them a new pair of $200 shoes. No, I'm talking about they might just want a hug. As one parent said, she didn't hug her child because she was never hugged as a child, and that wasn't her. But the child needed a hug. Okay. And so you have to find out. I'm sorry, this phone is moving around. We have to find out exactly what the children like. Let me hold it better right here. That goes on one side of the consequence chart. It might just be 15 minutes extra with their friends. It might just be hanging out with us 15 minutes extra, you know? On the other side are the things they dislike. It could be an extra chore. It can be going to bed 30 minutes early. It could be, you know, simple things, having to get up early 15 minutes, or simple things. One parent said her son hated jumping jacks. Excuse me. So she would tell him 5 jumping jacks, and he would immediately tear up, you know, and she would say, okay, now, so you know, if you don't do what I'm asking you to do, what I've shown you how to do, you're going to have a negative consequence. And so it helped him make better decisions, because then he would do what was necessary to be done.
Okay. Got a comment from Miss Laura Johnson, and she said, people often say you shouldn't be friends with your children, but my daughter and I were friends. I not only loved her like I liked her as a person. What do you say?
All right, so that is, it has different connotations, all right? So we have to also teach our children how to be a friend with their own age group. Okay, so that's the issue there. That's that thin line. All right, they cannot just hang out with us. They cannot only talk to us. They cannot only play with us. I mean, we have to teach them how to be a friend to someone that's their own age, a peer. All right.
Okay.
So
Okay.
that's the thin line right there. All
And,
right.
and I often see people who say, "Me and my mother are best friends," and I loved my mother to no end. But my mother was never my best friend. There was things that I wouldn't talk to my mama or tell my mama that I'm gonna tell my best friend, tell my sisters, tell my brothers. And so, for me, I loved my mother to pieces. She was my rock, but she was not my best friend.
So you have
And
to think
and
about
mm,
that. You are
mm,
right about that, because once your children learn how to be a friend to their peers, all right,
mhm,
there are going to be things that they do and say to their peers they're not going to do with you. You can
mhm,
say you're their best friend all you want, but there are some things they're not going to do with you. And as they get older and older, there's some things they're not going to tell you. And
mhm.
also, when we say that, we have to realize that your friends don't have authority over
Right,
you,
right.
but your parents do.
But your parents do. Hmm. Hmm.
So,
Yeah.
see, there are different degrees in that, and we need to understand it more when we're saying that. All right.
Mhm, mhm. Yeah, and I always knew that there were strict consequences that came with my mama. And those consequences did
Yeah,
not exist with my friend, but they existed with my mom. Okay,
absolutely.
all right. So this is the question that everyone wants to know. Now I know I shouldn't have asked discipline, but is it effective punishment? Spanking. Is it effective punishment?
All right. So, let me tell you, we talked about the fact that one thing is not the same for every child. We
Mm-hmm.
talked about. So, I did get spankings. I didn't get a lot of them, but I did. And now let me tell you, I preferred a spanking over you putting me on punishment. I hated that. I mean, nobody remembered. No, and so what good was it? And
Mm-hmm.
so for me, I would rather my mother spank me. I get over that, go on outside. I could go on and play with my friends.
Mm-hmm.
So can it be effective? Yes, it can be. Is it effective if that's all you know to do? It's not going to be.
Mm-hmm.
There, and this is the other part. So we have to learn also to explain to our children, to talk to them, to show them a better way, to tell them why something was not the best thing to do. All right. So
Mm-hmm.
that type of communication in itself causes children not to make unwise decisions, or
Okay.
there
Okay.
negative consequences in the first place.
Okay.
The more
And so,
gentle we
yeah.
are with them,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it helps them not to make
Wise
unwise decisions.
decision. Now, and we did grow up in that age when spankings were very popular. A lot of people don't spank kids now. So I was a child, and my sisters and brothers promise you that I was a bad child. I promise I was not, but I got whippings from my mama every day. My daddy, on the other hand, he was the person you're talking about that was going to talk to you, and he was more of a positive reinforcer. He did more positive reinforcement. He was never going to give me a spanking or any of us a spanking. That was not his way. His way. But my mom, that was her way. But his way was more, now, girl, you can't let people make you angry, or girl, don't say that no more. Or, oh, I'm so proud of you. You did so good. And that was his way of disciplining and teaching and showing and instructing. His was more of a positive, or more of, I'm gonna talk to you. My
Yeah.
mom was, but for me, I will say I think the salt and the sugar work good together. So,
Mhm.
and a lot of times you have one parent trying to play both of those
That's
roles.
right. That's exactly right. And so think about the fact that you, like you said, salt and sugar worked better for you. The thing is that I'm finding by coaching parents is parents want a yes or no, black or white.
Mm-hmm.
They want you to kind of like make a decision for them. But no, in coaching, I'm going to give you the options and the alternatives.
Mm-hmm.
It's up to you to see what best works for you and your child.
Mm-hmm.
And if you have multiple children, you're going to have to see what works best for each
Each
one of them.
child. Mm-hmm. And that would be my mom. She did always say, I have 7 children, and I treat all 7 of my children different because they are all different people.
Mhm.
So we have another statement. Let me see. Miss Tiffany Williams, tell me, what do you do when life is lifing? You only have a few hours in a day to do everything. I honestly don't have to sit and listen and hug. I have to make sure that taken care of and just a moment of peace, and then you're trying to pour from an empty cup. I
Wow.
like to learn about only parenting, not just primary or custodial.
All right. So she's talking about when life is lifing. I like that part of the statement. I'll use that. So yes, parents have to deal with all types of things. They're not just parents, they're also people.
Mhm.
And so they have to deal with their lives, the children's lives, work, paying bills, emotions, relationships, all of that.
Mhm.
So honestly, when you organize things a little bit better and try not to put too much on your own calendar, because sometimes now we add so much more on our calendar than we need to. Yes, it's for the children, but remember, the children can't do everything all the
Right.
time. So we have to limit some of
Mhm.
that. We have to structure things at home in a way that it gives us a few minutes to just chill, you
Mhm.
know? So when our oldest daughter was, let's just say, I'm going to say elementary school, we had a 30-minute ride for me to take her to school, 30 minutes back home.
Okay. Okay.
On that ride back home, that was, so I'm trying to unwind from work. She's trying to unwind from school, and she loved to talk. She would hit the door talking, oh, mama, hey, mama. I'm like, okay, so then we came up with this little rule. So you speak when you get in the car. If there's an emergency, we'll talk right then, because it may be something I need to handle before, we drive away from school, right?
Right.
If it's not an emergency, I need 10 minutes
Okay.
just to let my brain calm down and prepare itself for you. And then you have the other 20 minutes, okay?
Okay.
So we just have to learn how to structure our days to include ourselves,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
When life is
Okay.
lifing, structure that day to include yourself. Make sure the children are, taking care of the things they need, not all the extra. Not
Okay.
all the extra.
Not all the extra. Okay. Okay. And co-parenting is that's a big thing nowadays. We have a lot of people who are parents not in the home together, and they're co-parenting. What are some major do's and don'ts of co-parenting? Because I saw a lot of what I thought would, and that was when I would think, oh, these tricks are not for kids. They playing these games with these kids, and they playing this trick over here and this trick over here, trying to manipulate this person and manipulate that person with the children. And so, tell me some do's and don'ts of co-parenting.
So you are so right. So oftentimes parents put the children in the middle,
Mm-hmm.
and they try to use the children as leverage.
Mm-hmm.
Children are not leverage.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the don'ts is, do not pick your child for information. You are an adult. If you need to talk and get information about another adult, go to that
Mm-hmm.
adult. You don't
Okay.
pick
Okay.
the children for information.
Okay.
All right. Another don't is don't be negative about the other parent. Honestly,
Mhm.
the truth is if a person is that bad, it's going to show up sooner or later and the
Mm.
child will see it.
Right.
All
Right.
right. So we don't have to, throw stones and try to hide our hands.
Mhm.
We need to make sure we are modeling good parenting, good people, just being a good person for our children. All right. Um, One of the things we need to do is teach our children to respect their other parent. uh, I mean, unless there is a reason for you
Mhm.
need to tell. If something's
Mhm.
going on
Mhm.
and you're hurt,
Mhm.
you're
Right.
hurt, or you're
Right.
uncomfortable, you're unsafe, you need to tell.
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
beyond that, teach them to respect. Yeah, I know he doesn't call all the time or she doesn't call all the time, but that's still your mom or that's
Right.
still your dad.
Right.
You
Right.
know, that kind of thing. Because now you're teaching them good character.
Right.
And that's on us too, not on the school. That's
Mhm.
on us. All right.
Right.
That's a big issue because a lot of times, because we've lost respect for that other parent, we won't teach the children to respect them.
Mhm. Oh, yeah, and that okay, you can really create some problems with kids by being negative and about another parent. I mean, and then so oftentimes we'll tell our children, "Oh, you just like your daddy," and then say your dad ain't nothing, and that that is
Yes. Yeah, we have to
so
be
what are you
very
telling the
careful.
child?
Be careful what comes out of our
Mhm,
mouths. And sometimes we need a filter. As parents,
mhm,
sometimes we need a filter. We
mhm.
may feel that thing, but we don't need to say that.
Say, mhm,
Yeah,
mhm,
because the child doesn't need to grow up disrespecting the other parent because you feel some kind of way about it.
mhm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They need
Mhm.
to, honestly, again, if that parent is that bad, sooner or later that child is going to see it for
Figure it
themselves.
out for themselves. Mhm.
Absolutely.
And okay. Tiffany says I would love to partner with Mrs. Lynn to have a class for Hold Up the Light participants to build and rebuild relationships with their children. Ms. Tiffany has a Hold Up the Light. It's a nonprofit, and they deal with prisoners who are re-entering society, a re-entry program and trying to reduce recidivism rates. So, yeah. So you two can connect on that level.
Yes.
But
Yes.
yesterday, um, and I really enjoyed. I want to thank you, and I'll come back to some more seminars. I'm gonna bring Tiffany with me to some of these parenting seminars. But anyway, I need to just get a whole busload and bring because we really need this information. It's to learn how to properly parent our children to make them as strong persons as possible. But you were saying that children need to have a safe place or a safe adult. And can parents be that for their children? Should they be that safe place, or do children can they be that safe place? Let me just ask you that because I know sometimes children are so afraid to tell their parents certain things because they're afraid how they may react, and they may tell an aunt something or a big sister something or a big brother something that they won't necessarily tell a parent.
All right. So let me say it this way. Parents should be the safe place.
Okay, okay.
Whomever you are raising the child, whether you're the parent or the grandparent or foster parent or step parent or aunt or uncle, you should actually be that safe place. The child should always feel that they can come to you no matter how bad or how awful. They should be able to come to you. So quick story. When I was 12 to 16, I lived with my grandmother. When I started living with her, she was 76 years old. We lived together those 4 years. I thought at that time that my life was just over, you know. And I wasn't there because I was in trouble somewhere and my mom was trying to get me away. No, I was there because my grandfather passed away and my mother needed me to stay with my grandmother and help take care of her. All right. My grandmother poured so much wisdom in me in those 4 years. And honestly, I know that that's why I'm who I am. All right.
Okay.
One of the things she always said, now this is a 76 to 80-year-old woman. She said, I don't care what happens to you anywhere. You can always come and tell me. And together we'll figure out what we need to do.
Okay.
Now, she meant that thing. Do you understand? Sometimes we say things like that to our children, and as soon as they come to us with something that they heard at school or somebody said online or that they saw online and we're not ready for it, we freak out.
Right.
And
Right.
the moment we freak out, they are not coming back to us to tell us
Anything
anything else.
else? Okay. Okay. Okay.
So
Um.
we have to understand we need to be the safe place. And if we're not, if they're afraid to talk to us, then I pray they have a person somewhere, an aunt, uncle, someone that they can talk to, because children don't need to hold in all of that. If they are in a situation, they need to be able to tell someone.
Okay. Okay. Tiffany says, do you agree that children act differently? Maybe not the best behavior with their mother, perhaps their safe place. So the children act differently with their parents than perhaps maybe their godmother? Maybe they might act like totally different kids with their mother and with their godmother.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now you have to understand. So do we. We act differently around different people.
Okay.
It
Okay.
depends on the audience at the moment.
Okay. Okay.
Children do the same thing. They act differently around other mothers or friends, sometimes family members, than they do with us. Sometimes other people will say, oh my gosh, your child is just so amazing. They always, and you're thinking to yourself, what child? No. So yes, absolutely. But we do the same
I
thing.
guess you're right. We do act differently around different people, but I just say, "Oh, these babies are so sweet," and then their mother might say,
Exactly. Exactly.
uh, "Okay." Well, and then the last thing I want to talk about, being that is Mental Health Awareness Week. I mean, month. How can we tell if our child is struggling or dealing with some serious mental health issues? And what should we do if we think they are?
All right. So we last month, I believe, or maybe the month before, we did a mental health matters seminar, citywide
Mm-hmm.
seminar. And at that seminar, some of the things we talked about, I've already hit on, because I said you need to study your children. If
Mm-hmm.
Excuse
Mm-hmm.
me, if you are truly studying them, then you are already aware of something different,
Mm-hmm.
something not, being like you think it should be.
Mm-hmm.
When we actually study them, it's then we quickly pick up on something that, we have questions about.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
when we have questions about anything, we can always talk with another family member or a parenting coach or a counselor or the pediatrician. Ask somebody questions.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
There are hotlines that we can go to and just ask some questions. The internet, I know that it can be a horrible place, but it can also be a great place.
But
Google
like,
and ask some
mhm,
questions.
mhm.
Yeah,
Okay.
we have to learn to do research when we think something is not quite like it should
It
be.
should be. Okay. Okay. Mrs. Lynn, I have so enjoyed this conversation, and see, the devil was trying to keep us from having it, but we prevailed, and I thank you so much for coming. And you are an author and a speaker and a parenting coach, and just do a little bit of everything. And Mrs. Lynn has two books, and her first one, Left with Half a Face. This tells about her battle and her conquering cancer.
Yes.
And so this is I'm looking forward to reading this, because when I first met you, and I wish I could remember, you said something to me, and I was just like, oh my God, and I can't even remember what it was, but it was profound. I'll tell you that, because I was like, oh my goodness, but it made me remember you and admire you. And you were talking about your journey through cancer. So this is, I'm looking forward to reading this one. I just got them both on Saturday, so I haven't had a chance to read them, but I've started reading the You Need a Butt Whooping one. I'm gonna pass this one on to Miss Tiffany Williams, and let her read that, and I'll get me another one. I'm gonna pass her this one on, and I'll order me another one, because she has really enjoyed this,
Excellent.
and we will be coming to some of your seminars, and you have them on a monthly basis. Is it
Yes. So
monthly?
yes, the city of Opelika has partnered with me to have Parenting 911 seminars once a month. We
Okay.
normally have them the first Saturday of each month. And
Okay.
normally they are at the library, Opelika Public Library, 3 o'clock until 5 o'clock.
Okay.
So
Okay.
please join us every first Saturday, and be looking for the flyers. And I know I saw someone said, please give my information. Do you mind if I give my
No,
information for them to
not
contact
at
me?
all. And if I had my producer, he would have been to put your www.parenting911.org in the chat, but I'm flying solo today.
No, no worries. It's easy to remember because it's www.parenting911.org. And if they go there that's to the website, they can see some of the things going on. But I do want to let you know we have a new program that we are launching, and we are training parenting coaches
Oh,
how to
okay.
be Parenting 911 coaches. And we're starting off especially with newly retired educators
Okay.
who don't know what they're going to do with the rest of their lives. So
Okay.
guess we have something
You
for
have
them to
something
do.
for them to do. All right.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you so much, Mrs. Lynn. I have thoroughly enjoyed you. And Duchess did put your information in the chat. Thank you,
Parenting911.org.
Duchess. Thank you,
Yes.
Duchess, for putting that in the chat for us. So, parents, if you are in need of some help, grandparents, call Parenting 911.
Absolutely.
Uh,
Absolutely.
um, and then you also do a morning prayer, right?
So I do a morning Bible study. It's
No
called
more
My
morning
People
Bible study.
Project.
Mm-hmm.
The My People Project, this is the fourth year that we've done this.
Okay.
So God is amazing. I would not have ever thought I would have been on Facebook Live 4 years. So
Okay.
every morning at 5 a.m. we teach a Bible study. We have
Okay.
prayer and Bible study just to encourage everyone for about 30 minutes,
Mm-hmm.
to get their day started.
And I logged in the other day to I didn't know you did that. And I saw it when I woke up. I usually wake up at 5:30, and it had popped up on the screen. So I went back and played, and then it was awesome. And I was like, Lord, I need to get up earlier anyway, because I need to get on my treadmill. I said I can be watching this Bible study and on this treadmill at the same time. So
Amen.
anyway, Thank
And
you so much for everything. And I will be in touch with you, and I will make sure that I get the information for you that you
absolutely,
asked me about on yesterday. I'll
absolutely
make sure I
wonderful.
get
And
that for you.
I saw someone mention about the Bible study. It is on my Facebook page. It is FC Lynn, FC Lynn. And then anyone that wants more information about parenting, my parenting Facebook page is Parenting911. So
Okay.
Instagram Parenting911,
Okay.
LinkedIn Parenting911. All right.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. All
Thank you
right. So we will
so much
make
for
sure that
having
we
me.
follow. We'll make sure we follow you. Okay.
Please.
All right.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for
This was wonderful.
coming.
All
This has
right.
been awesome. This has been awesome. Thank you. You have a good night.
You
Okay.
as well. Bye bye.
Bye. All righty, guys. Thank you all so much for coming, and I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you got something really good out of Mrs. Lynn. I know I got some good information. As always, I thank you for joining me on Let's Talk. Remember, we won't be here next week. Next week is Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers. You guys, if you haven't gotten your tickets to the Hold Up the Light Mother's Day tea, do so. Contact Tiffany Williams or go to the Hold Up the Light Facebook page. Tickets are $25. Pastor Monique Summers will be the keynote speaker. So, and it goes to a worthy cause. So you guys support that. And just thank you all for everything you've done. Thank you, Adriel, for joining, Andrea Ferguson, everybody who has joined in. I love you all. I'm going to say good night. I am Juju. I am that mountain moving giant slayer. And until I talk to you guys again, I wish you all much love and many blessings. Good night.